Hello, welcome to this update for Asia. Let's see what's happening because we have three cyclones going on, like we talked about last week. There's Cyclone Diwat near Sri Lanka and India. There's Typhoon Koto between the Philippines and Vietnam, and there's Tropical Depression Senyar there in the southernmost part of the South China Sea. And this storm, Senyar, it was a very rare storm. So our last video was like Tuesday or Sunday, but around last Wednesday or Thursday, this became a tropical storm across northern Sumatra, very close to the equator. So it was one of the closest storms to the equator, and it caused extreme flooding in northern Sumatra. Last week, we kind of predicted this, like some extreme rainfall amounts, and it actually happened. So please, if you are still there and you are okay, please be careful the flood waters if the area is still flooded. Be careful in Malaysia as well. The worst has passed, but there might still be some heavy rain in a few areas and some streams that are still flooded. So be careful and please continue to stay safe. The heavy rain is over, but the flooding might still be occurring. So please be careful. And same thing happened in Sri Lanka, and even worse, there has been even more flooding since most of Sri Lanka. So please be careful. This has just happened recently. Now the rain has stopped and the cyclone has moved into India. But please be careful with remaining floodwaters and like ponds and creeks that might still be flooded. And be careful, some flooding might have contaminated drinking water. So please be smart and stay safe from the flooding. This is very serious flooding that happened, especially in Indonesia and spots in Sri Lanka. So please stay safe. And this typhoon there in the South China Sea is still coming for you in Vietnam. So we talked about this typhoon like many weeks ago, and it's still out there spinning. So please be aware in Vietnam, this could still hit you, but it might just linger out there in the South China Sea and not do much. The European does bring it closer to Vietnam by Tuesday, and it doesn't make landfall Wednesday, it's the December 3rd. So it does have some impacts on December 3rd, the European model. The GFS is like the same thing. The typhoon weakens a lot and kind of loses its structure, but then it goes into Vietnam around December 2nd, December 3rd. So please be aware that this is still possible. December 4th still shows some storms in Cambodia and Vietnam from this, and then the remnants are still lingering there, some showers later. So please stay safe. There's another issue about to happen. So there's all those storms there, but there in the Philippines, there's a high probability of another tropical depression or tropical storm in the Western Pacific. So the European models like some 70 to 80% chance of a tropical depression there in the Western Pacific. And later it does come westward, closer to the Philippines. And this might form or not, but there's a good chance that approaches the Philippines. So first, let's take a look at India for this cyclone here. And it does show it's already scraping the coast there. Some heavy storms in Chennai and more spots in Tamil Nadu and spots in eastern India. And by Tuesday, still a few storms left. And then it relaxes by Wednesday. So please stay safe. And next 5 days of rainfall does show spots there like 126 millimeters, 138 in this pink here, like upwards of 300 millimeters in those areas, like 200 in the dark pink. So please stay safe. And in Chennai itself doesn't show so much. It shows some heavy storms, but like only around some 59 millimeters on the European, and the GFS around 54 millimeters. The GFS is like to 324 millimeters in those towns around Cavalli and spots there across central Terminado in eastern India, more than 300 meters. This might cause a lot of flooding. So the icon is kind of weird. It's further out to sea with the rainfall, but the icon does have like some 200 meters in Chennai, so that would be a greater threat there for them. But most of the other models except the icon are showing the worst further north. But the axis is also showing like as Chennai to 162 meters and the worst further north, but still further out to sea. So some 300 meters. There are spots of the east coast near Terminato, and there are a bunch of rivers and streams here, so this might cause more flooding in those rivers. So please be careful, especially like some 300 millimeters in the European, those spots in eastern India. So please stay safe and take this seriously because after all this flooding that happened in Thailand, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, and all those areas, you really don't want to mess with flooding after everything that happened. So please stay safe and be smart. Don't drive with floodwaters and stay higher ground. Please be careful. And in general, shows a few more showers and storms than Maldives. Nothing crazy. And anywhere around this red color is already more than 100 meters. So if you are in an area of orange or red, you should be already being careful, especially like in the yellow, it's already 50 meters, but yellow to pink, you should be really careful, especially like red to pink, more than 100 meters. So please be aware, but just for context, if there's like an afternoon thunderstorm that throws like more than 30 millimeters of rain less than 1 hour, even those 30 millimeters might cause some local flash flooding if it falls in a short amount of time. So the amount doesn't matter, the intensity and timing matters more. So please be careful with flooding possible there in eastern India and stay safe. Just as for more context, shows those warnings here. It's like some extremely heavy rain, some red warnings, southern India there, and then shows on the east coast in Chennai, coastal Andhra Pradesh, some very heavy rain alerts and more spots there. So please stay safe. This link's on the description. There's some more recommendations here, so please be careful. Some higher gusts as well near the coast, so please be careful. Some light storm surge near the coast, some rough seas, and some thunderstorms, a lot of lightning. So be careful and please stay safe from these conditions. Check these links on the description for more information. So here's the thing, in the Western Pacific now, shows like these ensembles going north of Guam on the European model, more probabilities of a tropical storm the next week or so near the Philippines. The concentration of members around the Philippines is quite strong, so there's a good chance of a tropical cyclone there in the central Philippines still in the next 5-10 days. So just monitor this there and please be careful because it's good to know ahead of time to stay safe. So be aware in this in the South China Seas, like the remnants of Senyar, and this blob here is Typhoon Koto. They're now near Vietnam. So please be aware and keep monitoring if you are in the Philippines. So Indian Ocean, let's just see. There's like a few members the Arabian Sea, but like these are mainly isolated low pressures, nothing crazy. The thing I'm watching is north of Australia there, south of Indonesia, a few members kind of picking up and spots the Indian Ocean, but still nothing too crazy. Africa is still quiet, so nothing that crazy. The Google AI model has a lot of members around the Philippines and South China Sea, so this is the real spot to watch there. And then Northern Australia shows a member too, but nothing really that concerning. So please be careful around the Philippines, South Pacific. It doesn't really have anything, just like the European has something around Northern Australia, Papua New Guinea, but very little. And let's just see like if it has global, it shows it shows a lot of members there in this area near French Polynesia, Cook Islands, and those areas to the east of Samoa there. So this area should watch for maybe a brief cyclone in the next 10 days. And like there's this high concentration around the Western Pacific in the Philippines, and there's cyclone there in India now, some members. So please be aware in these areas. You're seeing a lot of stuff near Australia too, but this just some scare members. When you zoom in, it doesn't really show that much. So I wouldn't worry much about Australia now. So be aware in those areas, but the tropical depression probability is there near French Polynesia now. I actually in the 70% range too. So be aware those areas. And now it's that cyclone that caused the extreme flood in Indonesia, the Senyar. It's now called 34 because it moved from the Indian Ocean basin to the Western Pacific basin. It's one of the first times this has been observed. So pretty crazy system. So please be aware. In the Philippines, the GFS does show like there's a cyclone in the South China Sea now, and later it does try to form in the Philippine Sea. A low pressure goes to the central Philippines, but the GFS it doesn't have any strong cyclone, just brought low pressure with heavy rain there in the central Philippines, and then it goes to the South China Sea again and to Vietnam again, just like a deja vu from this last cyclone there in the South China Sea. So be watching this if you are in the Philippines or even in Vietnam again. But first you have one cyclone to worry about in Vietnam, and then you deal with the other, one thing at a time. But just be watching this. There's like the European, it shows this broad low pressure in the Philippine Sea there, but it doesn't show any big typhoon, but it does show like this broad low pressure goes and passes the Philippines into the South China Sea. But for now, the models don't have anything too big. Yesterday, they showed more, but like the Canadian has a low pressure kind of hanging through a front from the North Pacific, and then it goes to the Philippines, tries to become something. I think this is more of a rainmaker there in the Philippines, not much of a extreme cyclone, but until December 4th, does show some like 67 to 78 millimeters, a few areas there in the Philippines, some 52 millimeters. There in Vietnam might be worse, close to 200 millimeters. There in the pink, some 190 millimeters. So please be careful. And some flooding, because Vietnam also had a lot of flooding this year. And then shows in south of Guam more showers along the Western Pacific. Until December 10th, it does increase in the Philippines, especially the east coasts, the northeastern coasts there. Spots even at like 400 in 10 days. But this is still far, but just monitor. Because if this low pressure area approaches the central Philippines, the east coast is more prone to extreme rainfall as well. So please be careful. And Indonesia does show some tropical showers and storms as usual. Nothing extreme like you just had now. Sumatra should still get some rain, a few showers, and a few thunderstorms next 5 days, but nothing too crazy. But since there was already flooding there now, the more storms could make it worse. So be careful, and more tropical showers in Papua New Guinea, spots there in Western Guinea. And Australia has a gigantic storm now here on satellite. If you look on satellite, this thing looks enormous. A lot of lightning there in the Northern Territory. Another big cluster there in Queensland right now. When you watch this, this will be much different, but just be aware of these storms there. On the radar shows tons of lightning too. So this can cause severe weather and also like some lightning strikes can be dangerous. So stay safe the northernmost half of Australia there with those strong showers and storms. In New Zealand, there's still probability of some strong fronts, severe weather Saturday, Sunday, like tomorrow. This practically tomorrow there a stronger front, and tomorrow there it's like today here because there's many hours ahead, so it's already tomorrow there. It's already Sunday there in New Zealand, so like today there shows this strong front, and then Sunday to Monday, still a few showers in the south, but nothing too crazy. Shows some storms in New South Wales that can have some strong winds and hail, and then it shows this big cyclone to start December, possibly some stronger storms and damaging winds in New Zealand between December 1st and December 3rd. So be watching this there as well, especially for the rainfall amounts and everything. Some heavy rain in a few areas, but especially strong wind gusts. Like today, Sunday, this cyclone already shows strong gusts the South Island, and then there in Australia, some strong gusts. Monday, Southeastern Australia, spots there. Let's change this. Shows like Tuesday, as this goes towards New Zealand, might really pack a punch. Wednesday there into Thursday, and south of Tasmania, still some low pressure systems by December 5th, some strong winds. So be careful in those areas. And the rain accumulation around French Polynesia is really picking up right in the central western atolls between Papeete and the central areas. So show like 197 to 200 millimeters, like central western French Polynesia. A few showers in Fiji and Samoa, but nothing too crazy. So this might come from this group of storms here. Shows more showers and storms gathering around French Polynesia, and then doesn't show any big cyclone, but like this is trying to develop into a cyclone Wednesday, Thursday, December 4th. I don't know why nothing else is working. And let's see, still shows by Thursday the 4th this goes. And I'm so sorry, but this really doesn't want to work. Let's see if the temperature works or something. This is crazy. This doesn't want to work. Let's try to refresh this because this is not acceptable. Here, sorry. So shows Thursday, the December 4th. This goes, this might be more of an extra tropical cyclone. Not so tropical because you leave this tail of extremely heavy rain there, but then you like break into two pieces and you won't have a really tropical structure. So prepare for some possible flooding French Polynesia and be aware, but no direct impact from a tropical cyclone, possibly an extra tropical one might form south of you, but this changes all the time. So just be careful. Some flooding, some heavy rain in those areas. The GFS shows similar as well. The GFS is even like worse. Central areas, there's some atolls to 300 meters, 296. So really warn others some flooding coming to French Polynesia. Be careful, and you can translate it to French in the description with a Google Translate link. So please be aware those storms, and let's just give you a reminder about these temperatures both in Asia and in Australia before we end this. So there in Australia still some extremely hot temperatures, 43 degrees, even like 44, 43. Just in the north, in the south, you are still like lagging behind summer, still some cool temperatures in the south. And then Sunday, there into Monday afternoon, Northern Australia, they are not available, so this is still charging. but expect more areas around like Western Australia, some 30s into low 40s, in those areas, like in these dark colors, close to 40 degrees December 1st, December 2nd, still show like widespread close to 40 degrees Western Australia, even 43, spots in the north and central areas, hot too. Then Wednesday, Thursday, still like cooler in New Zealand because of those fronts, especially in the mountains, but like Central Australia still like extremely hot. So stay safe from the heat, be careful with heat danger. And now we go to the opposite end of the spectrum with extreme cold danger. So in Siberia there now it's like minus 46 degrees Celsius, many areas widespread cold, like some minus 45 degrees Celsius. So please stay safe in this cold. You're used to it, but like this is extremely cold. Please stay safe. Mongolia, basically 100% negative temperatures, even to minus 30 in the north. During the day, it might calm down a bit, but not really. It just stays frozen all day. So some minus 35 degrees Celsius, northern Mongolia, and shows like Russia still to minus 46. The wind chills, the feels like temperatures might be below minus 55. So like this is instant hypothermia. Please stay safe and don't venture outside unprotected. Shows northern China to like minus 29 as well. Spots North Korea, the northern half of China. The south is still okay, just a few areas colder. And then western China in the Himalayas, like minus 22 in the mountains. Spots even to like minus 24 or less. Eastern Kazakhstan, minus 17, but also central Kazakhstan, negative temperatures. Some scared cold in Western Russia, but not as extreme as the East. So that's good, but that's still cold. And then shows like spots of Turkey, some negative temperatures in the mountains, like in the Caucasus too, in the mountains in Iran as well. And slightly cooler in the Arabian Peninsula. That's good because it was so hot there in the summer. So be careful. Spots in Afghanistan, the mountains very cold. And then Sunday, Monday, the cold in Russia just spins around there with more cold to minus 42. Northern Russia, this extremely cold air just keeps spinning there. And then Tuesday, some areas get a little bit less extreme, while others get more extreme, like minus 43, central to eastern Siberia, like far eastern Russia in the minus 30s, minus 20s, especially at night, and like shows there across central Russia, some active temperatures, and like to minus 6, even to like minus 13. So be careful near Scandinavia to minus 17, northwesternmost Russia. So be careful, Kazakhstan, northern Uzbekistan, and spots there, that's Turkmenistan. So be careful and let's see, shows like in the Himalayas gets even colder to like minus 30 in the mountains, and that's actually Uzbekistan, I was right. So shows in Pakistan some minus 2 as well. So please stay safe. This is already like the middle of next week. Shows Tuesday, Wednesday, the cold continues. Let's see, like Thursday night, next week what might happen. Some minus 44, northern Russia. And this year is basically just night because it's in the Arctic. So further down, there's more daylight. So shows like Mongolia, some minus 23, basically all of Mongolian active temperatures, and all of the northern half of China, as far south as not Shanghai, but like as far south as some areas there, Beijing below zero. And please be careful in Japan later next week. The cold should sink down towards Japan, more areas below zero, even minus 10, minus 11 in the mountains late next week in Japan. So be careful, and this will continue fluctuating. So stay safe. These cold temperatures and the rain Doesn't show much rain, just in the east coast of Russia from those bomb cyclones in the Pacific, even 100 meters the Kamchatka Peninsula, the Sea of Japan, there's some rain as well. A shower or two in southern China and the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea there. But the main player here is snow, so like shows in the south, some snow in the eastern Himalayas, spots there along northern Nepal, but especially northernmost India into China, into Tajikistan, some snow there, some 5 to 11 centimeters or higher. Afghanistan, some mountains in Iran are getting some snow as well, and especially Turkey, in the Caucasus, a lot of snow spots of Turkey there into the Caucasus. So be careful, Georgia, especially in central Turkey. So be aware. And Russia is the Snow King, shows spots central Russia, more fronts with snow, northwestern Russia near Europe, and shows there across like central northern Russia, more snow. Be careful, northeastern Kazakhstan should get some scared spots in northern China or Mongolia, and then thus increase in Japan area in the Sea of Japan, some 48 centimeters, 39, and especially the western side near the Sea of Japan, because the sea affects snow, it shows like northern Japan. So be careful, especially going to next week, more snow in like northern North Korea too. But the real snow capital here is southeastern Russia, like 149 centimeters. Into spots southeastern Russia, the Kamchatka Peninsula, like 130 centimeters. So really be careful. The heavy snow in those areas from those cyclones in the Pacific, and some blizzards as well, with these strong wind gusts from those cyclones. Shows like there's strong gusts there now near Mongolia, not northern China, the strongest from the cyclone in India, some damaging winds, and the one near Vietnam. And then shows like Saturday, Sunday, some damaging winds near the southeastern coast of Russia and the Aleutian Islands in Alaska. Then Monday, this gigantic bomb cyclone appears out of nowhere there across southeastern Russia, west of the Kamchatka Peninsula, some 8 km per gust, over the ocean 143 potentially, like close to 100 km per gust there in the coasts of southeastern Russia, spots like 199 and all the way to like 108 km per gust. Tuesday still shows as this cyclone gets closer to the shore, even like 113. Wednesday, leaving more snow. Next Thursday shows even worse in the Kamchatka Peninsula, so 168 km per gust on the European, but this changes all the time, so don't be scared, be prepared, and be careful. So be aware with all the flooding, cyclones, snow, and cold, hot temperatures and everything, and stay safe, warn others. Let's just check if for any means there's any snow in the southern hemisphere. It does show like some in New Zealand from those cyclones, even like this in Victoria, New South Wales. This is what I like to call summer snow. It's very weird, but like still shows some snow there in New South Wales, spots in Tasmania, so in the highest peaks. So be aware and yeah, stay safe.